What's up, y'all? Kyle Hamilton here. I want to give a quick shout out to Lucas, Connor, and Ryan in the Week Zero podcast.
Jackson rolling out, 3rd and 7 after the penalty, and it's a completion to Kuma. He's still running. Kuma breaks free against a tired defense as the Hokies deliver the dagger here in Tallahassee. Empty look for Richardson. Oh, that is danger! Oh my! Keidron Smith cuts inside, and he's gonna pick six it in the swamp. Cat scratch fever Smith.
DJ is picked off, intercepted again by Benjamin Morrison. Here goes Morrison down the sideline. Can he go? Yes, he can. Touchdown, pick six, Benjamin Morrison. Nix drops back underneath. Touchdown, Ducks. Wow. Chase Taylor.
Welcome to the third episode of the Gold Standard, which we are doing live this time. I'm your host Ryan Fravel with my buddy, my boy Andy Forever. How's it going, man? It's been a while since we did a show.
Yeah, man, we had a week off. It's good. And just wanted to let everyone know, if you had any questions during our live stream, feel free to ask, and we'll try to answer them to the best of our ability after we cover the topics that we're talking about. But I'm excited to there's a lot of news since we last had one. So
Yes. I remember last time we were talking about candidates for Tommy Reese. I believe at that time Andy Ludwig was the go-to guy and that everybody wanted. Speaking of which, that'll take us into our beginning topic. The misconceptions around Andy Ludwig, the buyout, the emails to Drax Warbrick. I mean, first of all, what were your thoughts on that, Sean? Like, what was your immediate reaction when you immediately thought it was the buyout situation, and then when the information came out?
okay, so when it first came out with the buyout situation where they wouldn't pay the $2 million, I was pissed. I was furious. I was like, for us to be a championship caliber team, we need to. I mean, what is $2 million? What they make yearly at Notre Dame, right?
Yeah.
So it was frustrating at first, thinking this is a great offensive coordinator. He would be a great paired with Sam Hartman and the offensive style he runs that with less talent at Utah compared to Notre Dame. I just was like, wow, it'd be a perfect fit. It didn't end up working out. And then after the information came out, I believe On3 or Heather posted it. But it's with him, they offered the buyout, right? And that he ended up deciding to stay. It made me feel better about the hire, right? Or lack thereof. So I'm not frustrated anymore. Now that came out, I know there's fans that are saying that's fake news and saying that that's just a scapegoat, a way to get out of it, that Jack is just trying to please the fans, that wasn't even on the table, and that they just settled, right? So I'm okay. I'm happy with now seeing all the information for both sides with what happened. But of course, it was frustrating, I'm sure, for you even when it first came out.
Yeah, when it first came out, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really like Andy Ludwig in terms of an offensive coordinator. I like the on-field stuff. I think the on-field stuff is great. What he did with Cam Rising, amazing. He deserves all the credit in the world for that. He recruited Rising and he developed him into what he is now. But in terms of like the Freeman fit, I just don't think he's a typical, outside of maybe Harry Eastand, like he just doesn't fit Freeman's style of coaching. Freeman has surrounded himself with younger coaches, that are like in their 30s, 40s. Try adding like a almost 60-year-old coach to that who has publicly stated that he doesn't like recruiting. I honestly, and I might be one of the only Notre Dame fans that I think we dodged a bullet because I think that would have really tarnished our offensive recruiting.
Okay.
But other than that, I liked what he brought to the table. But when the news came out that it was the whole buyout situation, I wasn't as quick to, bash on the university and stuff for saying like the stuff I seen on Twitter, like Notre Dame doesn't care about football anymore. They haven't cared about football for 30 plus years, blah, 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 blah. The stuff that, our fans spew that they just know is not true. But I was kind of more like, hey, there's got to be more to this because this is the University of Notre Dame we're talking about. This isn't like the University of Toledo who can't afford to pay coaches like that. If Notre Dame wants a guy, they're going to go get them. It doesn't matter who they are or how much their buyout is. They're going to go get them. Now, I really do think that he got cold feet last second because I saw that his daughter is currently a student at Utah, which was a big thing for him as well. And he likes what he's got going on at Utah, which you can't blame the guy because they just won back-to-back Pac-12 titles.
Yeah.
So I can understand that, especially if he looks at it from, hey, I'm at Utah and I don't have to go recruit. If I join Freeman's coaching staff, Freeman is going to make you recruit. Doesn't matter who you are. I don't know, but and then when it came out, the more like, that I kind of believed that because it doesn't make sense to me, especially the fact that Tommy Rees, that wasn't a money thing. Notre Dame was willing to match. Tommy just wanted to change the scenery.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I
agree.
But go ahead.
I agree. No, I was just saying that. I agree that he would have been a fit. I understand the recruiting scare, but I definitely believe the reports that have come out and said that they offered it and he decided to stay. What would be the point of reporting otherwise, right? And I agree, Notre Dame can pretty much get anyone they want. I say to an extent. Right, you're not going to pull anybody from Alabama. You're not going to pull anybody currently from Georgia. I know the offensive line coach, but he hasn't coached at Georgia this year. So, to an extent, I agree. But the money isn't an issue. I don't. Yeah. I think people are saying, "Oh, they'll never win a championship again," or "This isn't championship caliber." How they're acting. It's going to be fine. Parker is already within the system. He knows Freeman, trusts him, knows him. It's going to be extremely interesting how Parker does, especially this year with his first year being offensive coordinator.
And you know what? And that kind of brings us into our next topic. The hiring of Gerad Parker and what were we calling him in the pre-live? Coach D.
Coach G.
Coach Gino. I look at the combination of both of those guys. Both of those guys, Freeman has worked with in the past. I believe he worked with Gerad Parker at Purdue, and he worked with Gino a bunch at Cincinnati. And I look at what Gino did with Desmond Ridder. He was a big component of getting Desmond Ridder to Cincinnati. Kind of developed him, and I really like the guy because he's a younger guy, kind of like Freeman. And for everything I've heard about him and Parker is that both of them are like Freeman in terms of they love recruiting. They don't dread it. They love it. And I also I know Notre Dame fans are pissed because, Notre Dame should get the best available offensive coordinator. I understand that, but look at where the time of the season that Tommy Rees decided to leave is not the most ideal when you're looking to hire an offensive coordinator because most of those guys had already found a job.
Yeah.
So a lot of the candidates were already at other schools, which is very hard to pull guys away. But I think that, people said, Freeman settled with Parker. I genuinely disagree. I think Parker always had a legitimate shot. From everything I heard, everyone was kind of for him getting a promotion to the OC job, and especially the recruits. Everything I've read, CJ Carr has a really good relationship with Gerad Parker, even though that wasn't his lead recruiter. Cam Williams has a relationship with Gerad Parker, and even and even before Tommy left, people don't realize that when Notre Dame was offering these 2025 5-star quarterbacks, it wasn't Tommy Rees who was their main recruiter. It was Gerad Parker and Chancey Stuckey. So that almost makes me think that Notre Dame kind of knew that Tommy wasn't going to be a long-term option based off of who they had as their lead recruiting for big-name guys in the future. But I don't know. I think it's a home run hire. I don't think it's like an A+, but I think this is going to turn out really good. You can clip me on that, but I think this is going to turn out really well. I really do. And I think
this turns out well this year.
Yes.
This year.
Yes.
Now, years down the road is when we're going to see if this is truly a great hire. I mean, you could put anybody behind the offense we have this year, and I expect it to be top 25, right?
Oh, I'm expecting top 10. Top 10.
That's worst case scenario, I'm saying, right?
Oh, yeah,
but, Freeman's even said recently he wants a pro-style offense. This is going to be exciting to see if Parker can bring that pro-style offense to Notre Dame, where we can rely on the run game and then just kill them in the air, kill them on the ground, right? It's gonna be interesting. I do think we settled though. I agree that nobody was available, right? Like what you said with the time frame, all that. What's the worst that's going to happen though with us settling with this, right? It's better to settle like we did than to hire someone on the outside and then be a complete bust. If we hire on the inside with Parker and he ends up great, you look like geniuses, right? But if he's trash, you could just be like, all right, in a year or two, find another, right?
I also I do like the idea of a co-OC because I don't know if it's official or if it has been, but it seems like it's going to be kind of a Parker Gino type thing.
I think it's going to be mainly Parker, but Gino's going to be there as the co. Probably 75-25. Like it's going to probably be him and them working together, but ultimately it's going to be Parker's decision, right? I don't need, like what you were saying is, Notre Dame basketball just lost. I don't know if you saw that, but
they lost again.
So yeah, to UNC by like 4 points. Parker, I don't like the idea of a co-offensive coordinator. I don't know if I've ever seen that be successful. You know what I'm saying? Like it could be a good idea, but have we seen it be successful? I don't know if I can name a situation off the top of my head where it's been successful. So that's my only worries is that aspect. I do think he should just be named offensive coordinator full time. The co's kind of weird for me, but we'll see, right? It's going to be very interesting to see how spring, fall, everything turns out, who wins the quarterback job, how is he going to call plays? What is he going to be like Tommy Rees? Is he going to be conservative? Is he not as a play caller? Is he going to be more of a air raid style quarterback? Play caller? Is he still going to rely on the ground game more? It's going to be very interesting to see in spring. And the spring blue and gold game is going to be our first taste into how he is as a play caller.
Well, according to that percentage of our fan base that think they know it all, they think, Gerad Parker was a tight ends coach, so he's gonna like throw it. He's gonna be like very tight end focused offensively, which when you had Michael Mayer, maybe, but Like,
I mean,
I don't know. Like, do you think I seen the jokes that Notre Dame's gonna have another 1,000-yard tight end? Like, I'd be happy if Mitchell Evans got 1,000 yards, just as long as like he's not our only 1,000-yard receiver. Then I think I'd
yeah.
be fine with that.
If Mitchell, I mean, don't count out Eli.
I mean, Eli
Don't count
Riordan,
out.
Holden Stays.
If healthy, right? Eli's going to be a beast.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can be the next big tight end at Notre Dame. We'll see though. But I mean, what's up, the two Irish brothers? Good to see you. Yeah, it's just people forget. I mean, he was offensive coordinator at West Virginia.
Yep.
There was I believe, don't quote me on this, a DUI situation with him. Was it at West Virginia, Cincinnati, somewhere?
Yeah,
where
it was at West Virginia. It was West Virginia.
Yeah. So who cares? Probably different situations. Yeah. So he's going to be just fine. If you look, Pete Sampson tweeted offensive coordinator experience. The last 5 offensive coordinators. And Parker has double the experience than the last 5 we've had, right? So he has experience as often. Who cares if it's at West Virginia? I mean, it's still a Power 5 school. They went 6
and also
6.
look at the improvement from the receivers. Like from year 1 to year 2, those receiving numbers the team was bad, but that's not, you can't put that on the offensive coordinator. That's more on the head coach, or if the defense sucks, that's on the defensive coordinator. But I don't know. I really like Gerad Parker in terms of his connection to Freeman, and I think a lot of fans get caught up in the coaching. I think great players always overrule great coaching. I think Sam Hartman, with just about maybe any offensive coordinator, would have this team at least 10-2. That's what I think the floor is for this team. I don't think it really matters. Maybe it matters for the future, but at least this year it really doesn't, because you have a top 5 quarterback in college football. And let's not act like Sam Hartman doesn't have the cachet that, hey, if Gerad Parker calls something and he doesn't like the play call, Sam Hartman has the cachet to change that play call at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Which as a Notre Dame fan, it's nice because for years, Ian Book just ran whatever Brian Kelly and Tommy told him run. It didn't audible out of it. So
Sam Hartman is a grown-ass man.
Yeah,
right? That dude looks like he's been playing quarterback in the NFL for 10 years. So he ain't going to be afraid to say something. But two Irish brothers did say in a comment that it was West Virginia when he was the interim head coach. That was the DUI. Thank you.
Yep.
It was one of the Virginias, right? But
too many to count.
I'm from Virginia, so watch out. No, I'm just kidding. It's going to be fine. This offense is going to be good. Even Buckner's not afraid. You saw him in the bowl game, audibled out of a play. Quarterback draw all the way to the end zone, right? I don't think any of those quarterbacks are afraid. This offense is going to be explosive. I just hope they include Buckner somehow.
Oh, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. I think this is legit competition between Buckner and Hartman.
I don't. And I'm the biggest Buckner fan. I
love Buckner, and maybe it's just that Buckner side in me that's hoping that just to keep him kind of engaged, it is a legit quarterback competition.
I don't see it being a competition. It's going to be Hartman, right? But they need to get him involved somehow because people are worried he's going to transfer, and
that's what I'm worried about.
It makes no sense. Why would you fight for the competition, right? You end up losing. Say you're going to transfer, not play this year anyway, and then leave to go somewhere else to fight for a job. When after Hartman leaves, it's going to be yours anyway, right? Probably. I mean, you still got to fight with Minchie, Carr, and others, but with your experience, it's probably going to be yours. Why leave when the next year when you're going somewhere else anyway, would you leave to go somewhere else when you're going to start anyway?
The real question is, does Angeli transfer?
Yeah, down the line.
I think he does, yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to start. Especially
Do you
with
think he does
Harmon.
it this spring? Do you think it's this spring, or do you think he waits till
He waits.
next
I
fall?
think he does another. I think he's going to wait, and then he's going to try to be in the competition for the starting job next year. And then if he doesn't get it, he's probably going to transfer.
I don't think he beats out Minchie or Carr, in my opinion.
I
don't know. Wait, does Ron Powless transfer? That's the real question. That's what everybody wants to know.
He's going to finish his degree. That's why he's there. He ain't.
But really quick, I did want to talk about, we haven't really got a chance to talk about it yet, and we could probably do this for next week's show. But, what do you think the expectations are for this team going into next year? You've kind of got a chance to look over the schedule. We'll get into our schedule predictions, next week. But overall, I mean, what do you think the expectations for this team? What do you think the floor would be? Not in terms of record, but just in terms of like New Year's Six bowl game, whatever. And then I guess, what are a couple things, like two things on offense and defense you would like to see heavily improve?
Oof, a lot of questions. So I haven't been to a Notre Dame game. I'll start with that since we're talking about the schedule in years since I've been in Alaska, your station. And me and my wife are going to USC Notre Dame next year. Oh, so that's gonna be a great game.
Me and speaking of which, for everybody watching, me and the Week Zero podcast boys are all going out to South Bend for the Notre Dame Ohio State game.
Nice.
We're gonna do a live show on campus, so look out for that. That's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, I'll try to get something while I'm at USC, the USC game. But I think floor. I mean, you're ready. I tweeted this the other day, and it blew my mind. People were a little mad about it. I said, "This is the year Notre Dame is going to win a New Year's Six bowl. It's going to happen. We've been close the last few times. It's going to happen. They're going to win a New Year's Six bowl this year. I don't care who they play. Right? This has too much talent. This team." And then people were saying, "You mean national championship, right?" Obviously, I want that, right? But let's say, I mean, you have to win the New Year's Six bowl to go to the national championship anyway in the playoffs. So shut up, right? But yeah, I two things that you say that I think need to improve or has to happen on offense and defense.
Yeah.
Okay. On defense, what has to happen is somebody's going to have to take Foskey's role in a good way. They don't have to exactly be Foskey, be the machine that he was. I mean, it's going to be hard to replace that, but somebody needs to at least fill that gap where there's a leader missing on the defense. And then I'm interested. I would say that needs to improve. What needs to happen is I'm very faithful and trustful in the linebacker and corner room. The safety room has me very intrigued. They have a lot of depth. I know Ramon Henderson's probably going to get the start, maybe with Xavier Watts. There's a lot of bodies in that room. I'm just hoping that they have more athleticism in a sense, right? You saw flashes with Henderson Watts, but sometimes they can get a little stiff. So I'm hoping what needs to happen is the safeties need to step up, not allowing big plays, etc. We'll see, though. Offense, what needs to happen to be successful is they need to incorporate both quarterbacks. Hartman is the main quarterback, and maybe have Buckner in for occasional flash plays and occasional red zone plays. I was hoping for that the Cone year, and they kind of did that a little bit, so we'll see what happens with that. And what has to happen is, on offense, too, somebody's going to have to replace the GOAT of an offensive line coach. And that offensive line's going to have to keep the standard in that room. I don't want a situation where this year we had a pretty good O-line, but then the year prior they were atrocious, right? You don't want – they need to be – the O-line has to be good for Hartman and those running backs. And the receivers, they have to be the anchor pretty much for the offense to be good. It's going to be the O-line. And I think they can do it. We have talent. I'm not nervous about that. It's going to be fine. But those are what I think are the most important keys. And I think 10-2 record floor, New Year's Six Bowls floor. I really think this is the year Notre Dame wins a New Year's Six Bowl. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I really do, and you can kind of tell me if I'm crazy or not, but I think 11-1 Notre Dame gets in the playoff. Like it's almost a guarantee with the tough schedule. But and like I said, we'll get into the schedule predictions next week. But I mean, I look at this team and I think Lorenzo Styles, for me, this is the biggest thing. Lorenzo Styles has to do something this year. Like he doesn't have Michael Mayer to hide behind. He can't be dropping balls. I mean, if Lorenzo Styles is going to do anything in his Notre Dame career, he's got to do it this year.
Yep.
Period. We've been waiting for him to be that superstar receiver that I think we all know he can be. But I don't know if it's something in his head, if he, doesn't have confidence now or what's going on, but he's just seemed off. Ever since the end of last year.
Confidence, I think. I mean, his freshman year, he showed so many flashes of greatness. This past year was a down year, and I'm not gonna. That's okay. He'll bounce back this year, and if he doesn't, he'll leave probably. But he has the talent and the skill. I just feel like he didn't necessarily have the quarterback to back him up last year. He lost confidence. They were 0-2, right? They lost confidence as a team. He wasn't getting the ball.
I think he had 3 receptions the first 2 games or 4 maybe.
You saw it was Styles the first play against Ohio State that Buckner threw that crazy pass. Yeah, I just think confidence. I mean, with Pine in at quarterback, he could only throw to Mayer. He's like, shit, Mayer's out there, right? So I think with Hartman's going to open up the offense. It's going to be interesting who starts, though. There's so much talent. Part of me.
Who do you think starts? Because I was kind of really quick, and we got a couple minutes left. But would be my starting 4 for receiver. Okay. I think you got to put Styles out there just because of seniority.
Yep.
Tobias Merriweather. I think he needs to get this is not in this order, just guys I want out there. I want Tobias out there. I think then you put Jaden Thomas, and then I think it's either Colsey or I think Jaden Greathouse. That's who I have out there. You could kind of interchange Colsey and Greathouse, but that's what my 4.
Talent-wise, yeah. But all right, so you got to start Styles, right? Mm-hmm. They kind of had. You also got Thomas right there. Yep. Caleb Smith did not transfer to be on the bench.
Yes, I forgot about Caleb Smith.
Smith is starting, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be Caleb Smith, a big, tall, big-bodied receiver, and then they'll have Deion Colsey as the sub-in big receiver. Then they'll have Styles and Tobias Merriweather, and then the slot will probably be Jaden Thomas, which I think Styles would be better in the slot, but they're probably going to keep him outside. And then Jaden Thomas was in the slot a lot, so Jaden Thomas would be a slot receiver with maybe Salerno as the backup.
Oh my God! I don't please.
I don't like it, but it's going to happen. Right?
I love Salerno, but please, for the love of God,
he's trying to be a Fink. All right, he's not no Chris Fink. All right.
I love him for the catch against Ohio State.
Yeah.
But let's be real. He made that catch a lot more difficult than it needed to
be. Yeah. So, Caleb Smith is starting, and it's going to be.
I think you gotta give at least one of the freshman wide receivers a decent number.
So deep. Okay, I'm not saying that a freshman's not going to get playing time. I bet at least one of the freshmen get at least kickoff returns or something like that. But when you have Styles, when you have Jaden Thomas, Colsey back, and then Merriweather, who's still good, and then you got Caleb Smith, who just transferred, and a graduate senior in Salerno, who, like I said, I think a freshman, I'm a big James fan, Braylon James. I think he should be thrown in somewhere. But if the ring's just so deep, I think the next year's when they're – and people are going to be pissed just like they always are. Why is a freshman receiver not playing?
What about Jeremiah Love? Do you think he gets involved in the passing game
No.
as a freshman? No?
Nope.
Okay.
Period. No. Yeah, I love
I know
him.
that they were looking at him as a wide
0%.
receiver type running back, but
0%. I mean, that's what I thought they were going to have Edwards for before he went to Colorado.
So you don't think he's going to – do you think Love is going to get any playing time, or is it going to be kind of a mop-up duty? No.
If Chris Tyree transfers, yes. But
Okay.
You have Tyree, Audrey,
Diggs,
Logan, and then you also have, don't forget Jadarian Price.
Yeah, Jadarian Price, Jabrian Payne. Yeah.
I fell out my chair. But yeah, I mean, that made me fall on my chair when you said him. I was like, hell no. It just Price. People forget that in the spring game. That dude looked like he was going to be our starter this year, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he looked good before his injury. Like, he had the carries in the spring game. He had the flashes where, he out-carried everybody in the spring game. That was him. He was going to be the starter, I think. But that running back room is just so deep, too.
Maybe it's just me. Like, we get a bunch of flashy new toys, and we get a top 5 running back in the class, and I'm like, I want to see Jeremiah Love play now.
But we have 2 juniors who are going to probably be back for senior year.
It's like NCAA 14 when I used to get a star-studded freshman. I'd be like, dude, I'm going to put you at something.
Yep.
You're going to play at long snapper. You're going to play like something. You are going to play.
Please don't transfer, right? I used to get so mad when I got a big freshman. I'm like, you're going to start next year after my senior leaves, and then he transfers. And I'm like, oh.
No, man, that's where you like, especially with Notre Dame's kicking situation. Hey, J Love, you want to kick? You might as well.
Actually, that Southern, USF
kicker.
We got, he's not bad. I've seen some videos.
I think his average is 44 yards, but that's because I think he's 0 for 8 for anything past like 48. That's where it's like, dude, I wish we had Kyle Brinza or Justin Yoon.
It's going to be interesting, our offense next year. Freshman starting, it's going to be defense. I said Vernon last time we talked.
Do you think they switched Jaden Mickey over to safety? I was wondering that because, like, I know that he was getting some starting time, but I don't know how he is in coverage.
Harper are going to get some nickel, some in a nickel slot corner. I can see him at. I mean, he's a good boundary.
He's a good corner. He's just not very. He's like it's maybe just because like we compare him to Morrison a lot. And Morrison rarely ever got cooked by a wide receiver and made anytime there was a big play against Notre Dame, it just happened to be on Jaden Mickey's side. So I don't know. I like Mickey a lot.
Experience, though.
Yeah. Not everybody can be Benjamin Morrison and go out there and start lock down a receiver.
You can't. I'm not expecting him to, but I do think Christian Gray is going to be something one day. I don't know what they're going to do. But we'll see.
But yeah, so we've gone a little bit over. But anyways, this is our first live show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in that did and commented. We'll be doing this from now on. So look forward to, turn on the notifications for the channel. But as always, I'm your host, Ryan Farvell, for the Gold Standard, with my co-host, Andy Forever, a.k.a. Sean. Go follow us on Twitter, at Farvell Ryan, or at Farvell_Ryan on Twitter, and at ND_4_ever_. Anyways, have a good night, and as always, go Irish.
Go Irish.